Hey everybody, welcome to the next project. Today we're doing a little something called Gretsch. It's a Gretsch guitar. It's actually a Gretsch kit. No, Gretsch doesn't make a kit. Well, this is kind of a Gretsch kit. It's a brand new Gretsch guitar that was parted out and sold as used. It's even stamped used in the back. So it's probably a factory defect of some sort. Couldn't be cleaned up and made right, so they sold it, and now I've got it. Well, let's put it together since we've got most of the parts as we start the next project. Well, everybody, here we go. We have got kind of a Gretsch kit of sorts. Actually, it's not a kit at all. It is two parts purchased separately that were originally part of a full guitar that apparently suffered some sort of a boo-boo in shipping or packaging, or who knows what happened really. It's got a few dents in the body now. It came without a wraparound tailpiece, a few scuffs, you know. This is a budget guitar. It's like, what, $200, $250 new. No incentive to repair something of this value. So they part it out, they pull the neck off the body, and they sell it off as parts. So in this case, I've got a full guitar minus a bridge for about $100. And we're going to give it a once over, spend about $1,000 worth of time making it a playable guitar. That sounds like fun, doesn't it? Boy, I know how to have a good time. So going through, before I even bother putting it together, I'm going through and checking things that are within reach, like the frets. While they all look nice and the fingerboard looks nice, they're not seated well. So after spending some time checking all the frets, finding that, every other one is high in a different place and none of them are really seated to the board well, I decided to go ahead and form a plan. Well, do I pull all the frets, level the board, put in new frets? That sounds like me, but nope, we're not going to go that route today. We are going to wick a little thin super glue underneath all the frets and then clamp them down, shoot them with a little bit of accelerator to help the seating stick, and move on with our lives. We're going to then do the typical, level crown polish process, but it's a bit involved. Nothing is as easy as you would hope. Here, I've got my homemade version of the StewMag jaws clamping pliers going. I'm using some thin CA, a little bit of acetone on a rag, which you should be wearing personal protective gloves. Acetone is not good to get on your hands. Just ask anybody that's probably painted their nails for, 20 years. I don't know. I don't paint my nails. I get paint on my nails, and that's a different thing. So after I wipe things off with some acetone, I'm running a little X-Acto knife blade. What is this, a number 17 blade, I believe it is? Something like that. Run it along the sides of the board just to peel off any residual CA that's still there. Clean it up good. And kind of lather, rinse, repeat going on down the line. A lot of frets to do. Whose idea was to put all the frets in the fingerboard like this? It's a lot of work. So, wick a little super glue under the edges, clamp it down, shoot a little accelerator on it, clean it up with some acetone, clean it up with the X-Acto knife blade, and again, lather, rinse, repeat. Well, after we have our frets glued in, we're going to go through and, the nut needs to come out of there. I should get a hammer. It wasn't stuck in there very well. We're going to go ahead and do a flat leveling on this, and I use a precision level, a contractor's level, and it was very nice and straight level when I bought it, so I cut it in half. This is the short end for guitars. I have a longer section of it left over for bass guitars that I don't work on very often. So we're giving it a once over with the leveling beam, and there's all sorts of irregularities in the neck, and not just the frets, but in either the fingerboard or the neck itself. So we have a little bit of work to do to get things leveled out. The truss rod has been adjusted. The neck itself, the fingerboard, is as flat as we can get it. So we're leveling the frets, trying to bring the high ones down to the low ones to make them all play nice together. Checking everything with a Fret Guru XT, which is like a fret rocker on steroids, does about 9 or 10 different things. It's a very handy tool to have. We're going to touch up our work once we figure out the lay of the land and just keep on moving. But you can see we've had to take a little bit of meat off the top just to get it to a good playable starting point. I was getting ready to slip the neck into the neck pocket just to make sure everything fits, and as I did that I noticed that the bottom of the neck pocket was pretty rough and uneven. Had a little paint in there, had a little manufacturing, who knows what it was in there. So then once I got that cleaned out a bit, I slid the neck in and I was like, oh, we've got a pick holder built into this. And some other problems. The neck actually doesn't slide all the way back into the neck pocket. A couple problems with that. One is the bottom of the neck pocket is routed at an angle, but the back of the neck pocket is square to the top of the guitar. So that keeps the neck from sliding all the way back in. Another problem was there's a great amount of finish on both the bottom of the neck and the back edge of the neck that would slide into the pocket. Once I got that all figured out, then I realized that mounting holes were off by almost 1/8 of an inch. So I've drilled, and now I'm plugging all of those holes. A little tap, tap, tap there with some glue on some maple dowels. We're going to clean that up. I used a saw to cut them off. Sand everything. Now I'm wicking some thin super glue in on the ends of the maple dowels to help harden everything up. Again, a little more sanding. Everybody loves sanding. So this is pretty exciting. Now with the neck slid into place, it actually fits back into the pocket. We still have extra gap on the sides of the neck, but that doesn't really matter for the most part. Checking the alignment of the neck to the bridge. And now we are marking all of our mounting holes. I'm going to drill those into the new dowels that are in the neck, using the screws to thread the holes. Okay, now after the super glue that I put in the threaded holes in the neck has hardened up, I'm putting a little bit of beeswax on the screws. Now, the trick is you basically turn the screw like you're trying to unthread it until the threads of the screw drop into the threads that are in the neck. You don't want to create a second set of threads in the neck. So back the screw out until you feel the click, till it drops in, then you thread things in. This keeps you from needing to put threaded inserts in the neck and all that craziness. I mean, yes, people do that, and I get it. It's fine. But if we all learn to install the screws right, you really don't need threaded inserts in a neck. Okay, so the neck is mounted to the body. We are marking the tops of our frets that have already been flat leveled. The neck was set so it was perfectly level with a notch straight edge. The truss rod adjusted. It was all good. Now it's strung up to tune understring tension, and we're going to do an understring under tension leveling. And this is just to help catch any strange movement in the neck when it is strung up under tension. The more I do this, the more I realize that a lot of guitars, especially this one, really benefits from this process. Even though I did the flat leveling just a little bit ago and everything looked great, under string tension, this neck is moving quite a bit. So, an extra little bit of time, maybe a half an hour doing this. I don't even remember how long it took me. Probably not that long, 15 minutes. Huge benefit. Made this guitar very playable. Actually, I'm able to get the action so low that it's unplayable. I can get the strings to where they're all just jangling and rattling off the frets, but you can fret every note and bend every note, and it's not fretting out. But the strings are just so low that it's kind of unplayable. So that's the purpose and the goal of this process. to get the absolute lowest possible playable string action, and then you can raise it. So that's the goal here. Going through using Rectify Master Katana, it's this understring leveling tool, to go through and work out all the little weirdness that is in the neck when it's strung up under tension. We've got the understring leveling all done now. We're moving our string jack. That's a homemade thing that I 3D printed. Dropping the strings back into the string slots. We're going to be able to check our tuning and give it another test here pretty quick. See if there's anything else we need to do before we move on to the next step. Here we go. So we've got it strung up. We still have flat top frets from our leveling two-step leveling process. Doing some chromatic runs. We'll be doing some bends and various other things, some chords, just making sure everything now plays well. Even though we're getting string jangle or rattle from the oscillation of the string on the frets, life is a lot better than it would have been at the beginning. Now jumping ahead, going to clean up and improve all of the string slot depths in the nut. I think I went from 10 thousandths up to 15 thousandths on this, so I made them pretty low. And it's all within about a thousandths or so accuracy, I would imagine. I'm not going to say this is NASA science here. This is just work on it, practice it, get better at doing these tedious little tasks. I'm not using a digital gauge. I do have one. I'm really not finding that it improves my work. I think the feeler gauge, sliding it under the string and tapping it like I'm showing here, actually gives me a better visual and tactile verification. Now, if you twist the feeler gauge, you will throw off your reading a bit, but as you use it and practice it, you'll get used to getting better results. So I'm using Music Nomad diamond files for this, and they come with a handle on them, but you can pop the file out of the handle and do touch-up work. Here we go. A lot of people don't do this. They're professionals and they don't tape off their fingerboard, and that's fine. This is a open or raw wood fingerboard, not like a lacquered fingerboard like on a Fender, which would be more prone to damage. But I like taping it off just because I do occasionally slip, either with an X-Acto knife blade or with a file or who knows what. 5 minutes and $1 worth of tape. And I have a little bit of insurance, and it's easier to do this than to repair scuff marks and damage, especially if it's someone else's guitar. Don't want to do that. This is my guitar. I could light the thing on fire and it would be fine. So I've got the board taped up for insurance. We're working with the Fret Guru shark fin file again, but this is a new version of it, or a new addition to the shark fin family. This is the diamond coated file insert, which I really like. And this thing is pretty aggressive. It is supposed to be 300 grit, and man, it does a pretty good job. I'm really impressed by that. I do use a 3-in-1 oil or any cutting fluid as a lubricant when I'm using diamond files. Not many people do this. I've been doing it for, over a year now, I think, something like that. I don't know how many fingerboards I've done it on. I have not hurt a fingerboard, lumber, or anything else, or the neck by doing this. I'm not saturating anything with oil. Just putting a little on the diamond coating, wiping it with my finger. It helps keep the fret filings that you're shaving away with the file from plugging up the diamond coating on the file. So you just wipe it off with a paper towel then and reapply another drop of oil and keep going. Works really well, for me at least. If you have diamond files, I'd say give it a try. You got nothing to lose. Just don't pour oil all over the board, you'll be fine. Here I'm using a Fret Guru end dressing file. I've been using this file for, I don't know, many, many years. I love that file. We are going to do some polish sanding, and polishing will follow that. But what I call polish sanding is I use a tool. Well, you can do this by hand. You can just fold up the piece of paper in your finger, use those one of those mesh pads called sanding mesh pads, or the nail file pads, any of that stuff. You can use it to take file marks and tooling marks out of your frets before you polish. But what I'm doing here, I'm using a 3D printed tool called the Grip. If you have a 3D printer or know somebody that has one, you can download the files from the channel here. Just look for a video called the Grip. But anyway, I take a piece of sandpaper. I'm using 800 grit my first pass. I roll it up, I tuck it inside the tool. It gives me something to hang on so my hands don't cramp up. And I just sand back and forth, as you're seeing here, going down the board with 800 grit the first pass. Then I swap out the paper and I hit it again with 1500 grit. And we're ready to do a little bit of final polishing. Now, you don't necessarily have to do final polishing. If you sand it to 1500 grit or finer, 2000, 3000, whatever, your frets are going to be, they're going to be smooth and shiny enough to do the job. But I like using a little bit of metal polish. Here I'm using Mother's Mag polish, but I've also started using Flitz, F-L-I-T-Z, I believe it is, just recently, and it worked really well also. I will be replacing this Mother's tub of polish because it's pretty much empty now. I seem to polish too many frets. That's a problem. But they're looking good. Nice and shiny. Peeling off our protective tape that really just helped keep some of the gunk and goop and any accidental slips from damaging the board. We've got a look here at the sanding process, 800 grit and 1500 grit, and final polish using the Mother's Mag polish. So I've got the neck fit into the body, I've got the frets glued into the neck, I've got the frets leveled, I've got, let's see, an initial string up and understring leveling done. We've done the level crown polish. The rest of the fret ends are in really good shape. They're not sticking out. They're not sharp. They're not bad. We've got final tune-up, string up here going. I did buy a Music Lily wraparound bridge from Amazon. What was it, $15, $20, something affordable like that? So we've got that in place. We've got it strung up with some Ernie Ball slinkies. I think they're 10 to 46, I believe. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. They're strings. I think it's got strings on it. Setting the intonation here, double checking my string action at the 12th. It went from insanely low, just under a millimeter on the low E and 8 or 9/10 of a millimeter on the, there we go. This is too low rattling. It is playable though. You can fret notes, you can bend notes, but the strings were just bouncing off the frets. So I did raise it up a little bit. And honestly, I might raise it up a hair bit more. We're going to get there. Oh yeah, for the final touch, we got to make this look like a Gretsch. We're pulling off these cheesy gold knobs and putting on some nice chrome Aero G knobs. Now, these are split shaft potentiometers, so putting on a knob that has a set screw can actually crush the split shaft. So I take a piece of binding or just about anything you have that can fill that slot, wedge it in there, then you can put the knob on and tighten the set screw. There's also little collars that you can slide on split shaft pots and then put the knob on that, and it's to help keep the split shaft from crushing, but I didn't think about it, so... Too late. Oh well. Anyway, hey everybody, we're at the end of this. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me very much. I appreciate your time. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. Ring the bell for future notifications. Leave comments. Love hearing from everybody all around the world. And give it a thumbs up. I appreciate that. Till next time, take care. Bye.